Paula Gardner. I'm the business editor at AnnArbor.com. I'm sitting here with George Fulton, economist from the University of Michigan, who's marking his 25th anniversary of preparing an outlook report for Washtenaw County. George, you're telling us that we have actually hit bottom in Washtenaw County.
Yeah, we've had 4 really pretty rough years here in Washtenaw County, all of them with significant job and increasingly significant job loss. But in our forecast, which we just prepared for you, we see job growth starting up again early in 2010 and proceeding through the whole length of our forecast, which goes through 2012. Now, some of the growth is going to be fairly modest for a while, but we do see it picking up, and 2012 to be a pretty solid growth year, even though we see by 2012 the area growing at a fairly solid pace. To put it in perspective, we still will not get back to the job levels we had as late as 2008. And the unemployment rate, which is how some people measure the labor market, is at record high levels right now, and we don't see that rate diminishing an awful lot over the period, just because the number of new job seekers attracted into the labor market is going to be at a pace that's just a little slower than the job growth we see.
So people who are wondering how the economy is should know that right now we're in a recovery in Washtenaw County. We should not necessarily be watching the unemployment rate because we're not learning about the job growth.
Yes, the unemployment rate is important in the sense that there are people out there that aren't even participating in the labor force now. They're discouraged. They don't see any point in even trying to find a job. And it reminds us, as those people gravitate back in as the economy gets better, that they're going to need to be taken care of as well. And until we do that, of course, the rate won't come down significantly.
Going back to 1986, we're also coming out of a difficult economic time. Tell me some of the differences you see between now and then.
Yeah, 1986 was interesting because it's actually the first year that we produced a forecast for the community. This is our 25th, which I think you mentioned. And so it was fun to kind of reflect back and see what kind of economy we had in 1986 when we took our first crack at trying to sort this out. And in 1986, we had come out of a pretty severe recession in the early 80s, but we had been out for a few years. We were reaching the more mature stages of the recovery. And one of the themes in our first report was, how much longer can we continue to grow before the expansion runs its course? In 2010, of course, we're not out of it yet, or we're just out of it if you believe our forecast. And so we still have a ways to go to get into a fairly solid recovery phase.
I think many of our readers and viewers would be interested in hearing, the report goes to 2012. How far out can we expect this to go? Or does the data indicate anything beyond that at this point, or when will you know?
No, well, first, we don't go that far out, but we described our recovery as sustained, and so I suspect that we will continue to grow beyond 2012 for a while, and but I can't peg a particular year. I can't indicate how long the expansion is. We didn't explore that question.
Okay. Maybe we can be talking about it next year.
Yes,
okay.
I think we can.
Great. Thank you, George.